Hello guys, today I am making my very own version of the Louise Carmen journal. I'm so excited to do this. Okay, so this is mine. This one is from Louise Carmen. As you can see, I got it in Paris and she's beautiful. I love her so much. I use her all the time. You can see she's had a lot of wear and tear already, like the color changed a lot already, but I love it that way. Anyway, I want to make one today for my sister because I love her and she deserves one as well, but I thought it'd be even more special if I made it myself. I really like arts and crafts and stuff like that, and I haven't done something like this in a minute, but ever since I've seen someone else make their own Louise Carmen, I've wanted to try it, and I figured I'll do it on here so I can go step by step through it all in case you want to make it as well. I'll give you a quick tour of my one because I'm going to try replicate this as much as possible. So open it up, got a portfolio here, then with some pockets. I haven't got a portfolio for my sister, but I'm going to order one and I'll show you where I'm getting it from. Then I've got my journal, then I've got like a sketchbook in here, then I've got another pocket and just another little booklet for notes. So yeah, this is what we're recreating today. Let me first go through all the materials so you know what you need to get. I think I've got everything. Okay, first things first, I got my template and I got it from a girl on TikTok called The Old Pink House, who very kindly made all these templates, which makes it so much easier. Then you don't have to measure out your own, which I could do because I have the journal right here, but I prefer it if it's quicker. So she has a bunch of different templates. This is the one for the size that I want to make, which is an A5. You just print it out on A4 paper, and we still have to cut and put this together, but we'll do that together in a moment. You need some tape or some glue for the template, a ruler, scissors, a pencil, not necessarily necessary, but I prefer it this way. Then your leather. I got this beautiful like burgundy red color because I feel like this will suit my sister a lot. This is vegetable tanned, which means that it should, like mine, age over time and age as you travel with it, age as you have it in the sun, which I think is a really beautiful experience because it's literally growing with you, and I want that for her as well. So this should darken over time and like get some more personality. This thickness, which is something that I was really confused about, so I figured you might be as well, is 0.9 to 1 millimeter thick. So I guess they can't guarantee the thickness, but it's basically a millimeter thick, which seems to be very similar thickness to what my actual Louise Carmen is. And I got it in an A3 size because that is enough. I hope. I actually haven't double checked it yet before I started filming this. I'm gonna double check it in a second because I'm scared. You need some elastic cord. I got navy blue and I got 5 meters, which will be way too much, but it's hard to find any less. You need your journals, your notebooks. These are from Moleskine because these are the ones that are compatible with the Louise Carmen size. I bought 6, although I'm probably only gonna put 2 or 3 into her notebook, but I'm gonna keep the other ones for myself and probably gift her an extra one for when she finishes them. So these are not fully A5. They're like a random size, which is 5 inches times 8¼ inches. So it's a really random size. I don't know why they chose to do this and not just do A5, but they did. So these are the ones that are compatible, and they are soft cover because I prefer that in these journals. I don't like a hard one, like moves too much for my liking. Then you need eyelets to put the cord through and an eyelet applicator. Then you want to get some charms. They call them gris-gris on Louise Carmen. I've got 3 options for my sisters. I'm not putting any on the side. I'll leave that up to her if she wants to add those later. I've got this one. This one's actually from Louise Carmen. It came on my boyfriend's journal, but he didn't like it. It's a bit girly, so I understand that. So this is option 1. Option 2 is this one, which I actually had ordered for my own journal. I didn't end up using it because I felt that the blue didn't match the green well and I preferred the orange. But this might go really well with this color. So let's see. Then I also, a couple months ago, made one for her myself. Now it didn't turn out amazing, But like the whole point of this gift is that it's handmade. So I feel, and this took me hours, okay? Like I spent hours on this charm. I made it out of like, what do you call it? Silver clay. It's like this Japanese clay that literally turns to solid silver. It's crazy, but it's so much work. Anyway, I made her this charm with her name on it. And it's like, it's rough, but it's also kind of charming. Preferably I would use this one because then it's like really a fully handmade journal. We will decide that in the very end. That is all the materials. Let's get to crafting. Okay, so after you print this out, she's got a little box here to make sure you printed it out in the right size, because some printers shrink images, some printers enlarge them, and you just measure and make sure that this is 1 inch by 1 inch. And if it is, then you're all good. This is exactly 1 inch, which means this will be exactly 1 inch. Okay, so we've got the right size. We need to cut along the solid lines and then glue or tape these two parts on top of each other. Okay, I've decided not yet to cut these curves just because, as you can see, my printer is like has an automatic border, which means I don't have a clean line here yet. So I'm gonna actually do that at the very end. If your printer does print it all the way to the end, just cut this at this stage already. Now we're gonna glue these sides. So you can see these smaller dotted lines. They should just line up like that. You can see this lines up with the page here, and this lines up with the page here. Ideally you'd have glue. I haven't got any, so I'm actually just gonna tape the sides together. And voila, and here's our template. As you can see, it is exactly the same size. Oh, actually it's a little bit bigger, but only in length, not in height, which is fine because that just means you've actually got some more space to turn it over, which I kind of wish I had, because sometimes when I put another book in here, these kind of close like that. So this is actually better than this one. Okay, now let me just double check that I've got enough leather. Yes, I do. Okay, I've got one chance here because I've only got this much scrap leather. We're not going to be working with this side. We're going to be working with this side. So first things first, we are to trace this out onto the leather. Now, there's two ways you can do this next step. Either you put some weights on this and you have an X-Acto knife or a leather cutter and you can just cut straight like that. Or the way I'm doing it, because I haven't got all the tools, I'm tracing around this and using my scissors. And voila, now we're just gonna cut along this and try and make it as straight as possible. Whew. Okay, we've got this extra material. Don't get rid of this yet because we're gonna need this in a moment. Next up, we have to make these holes where the grommets are gonna go. Now you can decide if you want to have, I'll show you on my one, this elastic coming out of the back, like here, or if you prefer it coming out of the side, here. I'm not sure what I wanna do for her because I think when you are writing, if you haven't got this insert here, which I've got, this does kind of pierce into your notebooks. So I actually think I'm going for that. My only question is, why is there one dot and not two, like in here? And should I do it like this? I assume that they want the cord to come in one hole and then be tied in a big enough knot so it can't fall out again. But I think I'm gonna just do 2 grommets. This is very much optional and I'm just being nitpicky here, but this is just my choice. So I'm just gonna quickly do that and change the recipe a little bit. Just like that. Anyway, now the actual next step is making the holes, which means we line it up again, make sure it's perfectly lined up, how you cut it out. Once you've got that lined up, if you've got some sort of clip, it massively helps to keep this in place. If you don't have one, just be really careful and try to keep it still. This is where I'm gonna put this aside and we're gonna get our scrap piece to practice on. Everyone said practice, practice, practice doing your grommets because it can be tricky if you've never done it before. Right, so these are the tools that it comes with. Make sure your grommets come with these tools, otherwise make sure you buy them separately because you cannot do this by hand. This tool is what makes the hole in your leather. And then this tool, combined with this little bed for it, is to install the grommets. You need a hammer for this too. I forgot to say that in the to-do list. You need a hammer. Make sure you're not doing this on like a surface you care about. I've got this placemat that can be destroyed. Be careful with doing this on a table. Oh, that was my first go and that actually turned out so well. What the heck? Okay, that makes me feel like I don't need another practice round, but is that an idiotic thing to say? Probably, so I'm gonna try again. Practice done. To be honest, I don't know what those people were on about. It was actually really easy as long as you're careful and forceful enough, but not too forceful. I guess just practice, just be safe. You'd rather be safe than sorry. On to the real deal. Now that I've done these this close together, I'm gonna try and get it more like this than this because these are too far apart for my liking. I'm gonna use this top one as a reference and then try to get the one under it as close as I feel comfortable with. So first we make the hole and we can do this right through the paper. One hole done. Okay, that's my first 4 holes done. I followed exactly where the top holes were on this template. And then for the bottom 2 holes, I did them right above the reference holes, just so that they're a little bit closer than what the reference said. And now we're gonna do the exact same thing on this side, and then we're gonna do these. Okay, so that's all the holes punched. We've got a total of 10 holes now, which was optional. Usually if you follow the template exactly, you would only have 9. They look good. Now we need to put the grommets into them. Okay, so you take a little grommet and you push it through so that the flat side is facing the outside of your journal and the sticky out bit is on the inside. Then you take your little grommet bed and this should slot in right in the middle. You'll feel when it kind of latches on. You take the pokey pin, pop it right in the hole of the grommet and you hammer. And then you pray for the best. Yay! And repeat that on all of them. Wow! That worked perfectly. All the grommets are done. I don't even know if these are called grommets. Maybe they're called eyelets. But now that we've got all the little eyelets in, we are gonna go back to the cutting so that we can do these edges properly. To make sure they're even, because my printer is being annoying, I'm gonna fold my template in half and cut them like this so that they're definitely the same. Perfect. Now we're gonna line it up. Then you're gonna trace it again. And cut them all out. Et voila! Oh my god, it's coming together. The only thing we have left to do is to put the strings and the charms on. Okay, so in all the other tutorials I've seen, people simply threaded them through one hole, out the other, and tied it in the middle, and did that 4 times. But I want to do it the same way that it's done in my journal, which is a bit different. You can see that all 4 of these holes only have 1 string, like this is connected to each other. So that's how we're gonna do it as well. You're gonna start with your journal this way around. The first thread is gonna be on one of the outside holes. Then you turn it around and you go into the one that's right underneath it. Turn it back around and go into the bottom of the 2 holes now. Turn it back around and finish it in this top one. And then the outside will look like that. And the inside will look like this. Then even out your strings because you're gonna tie a knot in the middle and you don't want to have too much excess. Now we can cut the long piece and we'll tie these together. And snip off the excess. And that's number 1. And then we're gonna do that again, exactly the same in the other 4 grommets. Now if you don't want the edges to fray like this, just burn them at the end. And the fraying disappears straight away. Okay, as you can see, this is tied super tight to the point that it like disforms the leather slightly, but that's because the leather is so easily disformable. Once the books are in here, it's gonna keep it taut. But it's important that these are tight because otherwise the notebooks are gonna move around in here and that will be really annoying. Then we're gonna do this outside string and then we're gonna be done. So for this one, you're gonna start on the inside, go through either of the holes. Okay, before you put it back through, you're gonna have to decide on your charm that you're gonna put on here. I think I'm gonna do this one because it's handmade and I just think that's quite sweet. The only thing is the holes are really tiny. My elastic is quite thick, so I don't actually know if it's gonna work. Let's find out. It's not gonna fit. Guess we're using that one. Once your charm is on, you can put this back through there and tie it, snip it and burn. Okay, so this is basically the notebook done. We've got the charm, we've got our elastics where we can put 4 different notebooks, and now all that's left to do is to put the notebook in. I'm really sad I couldn't put this one on. I guess I'll just give it to her. Okay, now for the notebooks. I bought this green. This light is kind of changing the colors. Hold on. I bought this green and this, like, what color even is this? Purpley brown, I guess. I do think that the green goes much more beautifully with it, so I'm gonna put the green ones in. So to make sure this is in correctly, you want to find the middle of the notebook, like so. You'll know it's the middle because it's got the stitching. And then, oh my god, this is so exciting. You're gonna pull it through one of these. So you're just gonna single one out, pop it in like that, so that it goes around the middle. Then the string sits in the middle like that. Oh, it fits perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna put all the notebooks in and show you the final result. Okay, she is done. I am very impressed. I'm very impressed. This is super cute. It wasn't even that difficult. Like, it actually wasn't. You just had to have your brain on. This is such a good gift idea. There's a couple things I wish I'd done differently, which I will tell you so that you avoid those. A couple that I could have very easily avoided because it was my own choice. But that's fine. It's still beautiful. Okay, here she is. Et voila. And then you open her up. Fold, fold. I put our little Polaroid from ages ago on the first notebook. So we've got one plain one in here. I decided to put 2 of the green and 1 of the other one because the other one has lines in case she wants one of those. And then another plain one in the back. And they sit super securely and they fit perfectly. And then just pop that around. And these colors, honestly, this does go really beautifully with this. I'm super happy with it. What I wish I'd done differently. First things first, I should have just followed the template and done 1 hole if I was going to do it on the side. If I had done it in the back, like in my journal, I would have done the 2 holes. So either you do it in the back with 2 holes or you do it on the side with 1 hole. Because this, I'm not a huge fan of what's going on right now. It's not that bad. It's just I would have preferred it wasn't like this. So I'm sorry about that, Tinker. But it's also kind of cool. It makes it special. Another thing is, which is something that I will just note for next time. These journals fit like perfectly flush into this. And I would have preferred it if there was a little bit of excess leather to go above the journal. So I would have preferred it if the leather was a little bit bigger than the journals on the inside of it. Like now they're basically the exact same size, which is fine because it fits perfectly. But I think if I was to make one again, I would make the leather a little bit taller, just by like a centimeter, like half a centimeter on each side. So if that's a look that you prefer as well, I would do that. That's the only mistakes that I made. I'm really happy that I put these closer by because I really prefer how that looks. Some things I want to add to this, if I can, is I would like to get her a portfolio insert, which is one of these things that can slot around one of the notebooks, and you can just keep a bunch of stuff in it. Now, I found a shop on Etsy that does these, so I will probably order one from there. They make them out of fabric, not leather, but I think it's cute. And I would like to add a pen holder in here somehow, although I don't know how. I'm glad that I bought these notebooks because obviously the leather doesn't have any pockets, but every single one of these notebooks has a pocket in the back, so she can keep a bunch of her little things, photo with pictures, little receipts, etc. in there. Anyway, this turned out so legit, and I think I will be making a lot more gifts like this because how cool. And this cost me in total with all the materials, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna pop it right here how much it cost me compared to how much my Louise Carmen cost me in Paris. Do with that what you will. And this took me about like an hour and a half, I don't know, but it was fun. And I know that now if I was to do it again, I would be way quicker because I know exactly what to do. The more I'm looking at this, the more gorgeous it gets. This is so pretty. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't usually do tutorials, but I just figured because I'm making it anyway, I might as well record it in case one of you wants to make one too. Yeah. See you on the main channel on Sunday.